Well, hello and welcome back to Redwood Acres. And today is 10 months since I purchased this collar for our beloved Black Lab mix Trooper. Uh, so it is the FI, it's like smart collar, GPS, cellular, Wi Fi, works on all modes. Or it's capable of all modes, right? All right, so it's been almost a year since we purchased the Fi collar, the Series 2 smart collar for our dog. And so it's time to do a review on this collar, more detailed. Obviously, I did my first look, but let's get into some of the details. So, they call it a smart collar because it supports connections to Wi-Fi, GPS, cellular, and Bluetooth. The cellular network that it relies on is AT&T, and that's of course important depending on your location. So if you're looking at one of these for a purchase, I would recommend obviously double checking if you don't carry AT&T's network for your personal phone to see what kind of service they have in your local area where your dog's going to live. Um, the collar, of course, sports some cool features like it's waterproof up to IP68, has an LED that lights up. It's blue. If you saw there in the beginning when it's blinking, that's just because it's on the charge. But that stays on when you put it in night mode. And then the GPS accuracy in an open sky is 7 feet. The LTE network it uses is called LTM. I never heard of this before. It's supposedly a lower power but longer distance LTE signal of some nature, so it works good for this application, at least according to the manufacturer. So battery mode, that we're going to talk this a little more in detail just because I know this is something I'm going to have to discuss, kind of in my cons in the end. Is so it has 4 operating modes, and then the first one is at home, or with owner, which is primarily connected to the base. The Fi app meet through the Bluetooth, which you'll get a notification on depending on how you have your app configured. And I'm going to have some screenshots of the apps up here how some of the app features as we move along through this video. And then, of course, like I said, you have to have like a Bluetooth on for that to work. And so in that, it's like minimal power consumption. So it could say it could last potentially up to 3 months. And then locations are updated every minute. The second mode is GPS, or outdoors, basically, and for our case, this is quite a bit of the dog's time is out and about, especially in the less the summer months when weather's less crappy. So this mode is the dog is connected, depending on the range, could still be connected to the base. Like if you have a small yard or something like that, depending on where your base is located at. And the dog say has access to outside, or you just let it outside, whatever, to the backyard, it may stay connected. So in this mode, they consider moderate power consumption and could last from 1 to 3 weeks. And locations update every 5 minutes, which I found that to be fairly accurate. Like when we go for a ride, and for some reason I have my Bluetooth turned off, and Trooper, our dog, is with me in the vehicle, I don't get the left home mode or left home notification on my phone usually until we're quite a ways away from home. So that's probably fairly accurate as far as updating every 5 minutes, depending on when we leave the house and when the last time it's updated, right? And then the lost dog mode, which honestly I didn't fully understand until I had to use it one time, and it was very helpful. So active, it turns on a red light on there, which honestly I think the person that had them probably freaked him out, but we'll get into that in a second. So it's high power consumption. It could last up to 2 days, and that's based, if you listen to the manufacturer talk, off of like a full battery. And it updates every minute. So it's basically using all possible features to help you find that dog, which is great. But in our case, he'd gotten out and he'd gotten down to the road, which is a rural country road. Somebody decided to pick him up, and instead, it's because this frustrates me every time it happens, because it has happened more than once. This one, it was a little more freaky because I thought somebody was trying to steal him. Was he has a big silicone like rubber thing on his collar that has his name and his address, which is published at the end of our driveway, and people live on this road. There's not that many. It's like, come on, like what? Anyways, his excuse was he was running errands, so he just picked him up and went to go run errands and then came back. But so anyways, I was at home, wife was out and about in town, so I called her, started giving her like locations because this person was driving around town, and it was pretty accurate. She didn't, because of the 1 minute delay, you can move quite a ways in a car in 1 minute, right? So I thought I had him narrowed down to one location at one point in time, like he'd stopped and then all of a sudden he changed locations. So anyways, and then he called me. So long story short, we got our beloved dog back, and it was no harm, no foul, but it did freak me out a little bit because that's probably one of my most concerns is someone trying to take him, because people do that. So ways you can preserve your battery. We'll just talk that here a second before we get into pros and cons. Obviously, maintaining base connection. You can have more than one base. I have not configured this. If you go on their site, there's some more information about that. If you're trying to use this for like a farm dog or something like that, unless you have like a Wi-Fi extenders like out in a barn or some sort of outbuilding, and maybe another base, or depending on your scenario, this car may not work out very well for you. And our situation is currently working out okay, and we'll get into the some of the pros and cons, right? So one is the app. The app's pretty awesome. It has a lot of features. In fact, I just found another feature on there prior to this video where I could look at to try to figure out what's going on with the battery. And we'll, like I said, we'll kind of talk that here as we get down further. Cost $49 currently. They are having a Black Friday sale. At the time in this video, I think there's 18 hours left. Go to the website, check it out. I'll provide a link down below. I'm not getting anything from this. It's just if you're interested, maybe you can save some money. I believe when I bought it last December, I got some sort of sale price of like $99, if I remember right. So if it's something you're really interested in, you can wait. Maybe wait around. They might have a sale. They might have a Cyber Monday sale. Who knows? Just if you're patient sometimes. It supports other users. That's in the app, right? So the app you can add walkers, which could be someone you've hired. You can add owners like family members. And so then they'll have the app on every time they're with the dog. They can get the notifications. It's really helpful because, my boys help, because I'm overseas right now. They help take care of Tripper, and that, I can see how he's doing because it has step monitoring, sleep monitoring. The steps, I've used that as an incentive program, hopefully get my boys to exceed our daily goals. So there's a monthly average they need to get a certain amount of money, and then if you exceed the step goals for the day, they get an additional bonus. So something you can think about if you're in that same situation. All right, so into cons. Battery life. The first 6 months I owned it, I think it worked pretty darn good. I could try to go back to track down the exact time of when it started dropping off. I have messed around back in September when I was at home. I moved the base closer to where his because he is a primarily outdoor dog, but he lives in the garage, or he sleeps and hangs out in the garage, and he has access to the outdoors, right? So he has a nice built-in dog house in there. I moved the base closer to that, where the base was still connected to the Wi-Fi and connect to his collar. And you can see there, and I'll put that up there below it. It does spend quite a bit of more of its time connected to the base, and it's on GPS. But I'm still only getting about I would say on average, at least when I get the 20% notification currently, I'm getting about 7 days. And I'll try to, sit down and go through my notifications and see if I can narrow that down a little better for you and give you a little better average. But it drops pretty quick from 20 to like 5 and then to dead if it goes that far before one of my boys puts it on the charger. I just keep reminding them he's not counting any steps if it's dead, right? So that actually works pretty good. Versus before I didn't have really leverage. So, all right, and the website, it is a little challenging to dig around on the website. I'd actually, because I'm a detail-oriented person, I really just want specs. I don't want all the advertisement, fancy-looking stuff. It's just black and white specs is good for me. If you go into the Q&A section, that's where I found a lot of this information that I was looking for. I was like, oh, who knew, right? So that gives you better, I think, more detailed, more black and white, less of the frills. That's just my take on it. Honestly, I would highly recommend, if someone from FI ever watched this video, I would look at like making a sport dog feature that, because there's a bigger dog that can, this collar is light and small and compact. You could afford to make a little bigger one for those type of dogs, and it had a larger battery. Same tech, larger battery. I think people would really love it. So, it's for what it's worth, right? And then the last thing I would say in the marketplace, right? There's the Halo collar, which does have that like self-correcting dog feature, which sounds like a nightmare because it honestly sounds like it doesn't know where it's at half the time, and it ends up zapping a dog without, incorrectly making corrections, which is an utter nightmare. I don't know, and it doesn't look like it's well built. And then things like $800 to $1,000. What in the world? No thanks. There might be a few others in the space. If you know about them and they're better than the FI, or you think they're better, go ahead and put them in the comments down below. I appreciate everything you guys do. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, if you find this content useful, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share it with someone else, and have a great week. Oh, and one more thing. All my other social media links are down below. You can check me out there, and I will provide the promo FI Black Friday sale down below. Even after that, you can still use that link to get over to their site and check them out. Thanks for watching. Have a great week.